Welcome back everybody, real quick with another part of Genesis Alpha 1. So I'm currently playing the new Doom. What can I say about the new Doom game, Doom Eternal? Well, the game fucks with you. Fucks with you really hard. And after it fucked with you, it's like, I know, it treats you, it treats you out. Kind of like, you know, yeah, it's like, so it's really punishing the game, but after that it's really rewarding. So I'm still playing it. I still have to play it through. But I got, like, for example, I have an unlimited ammo cheat. And wow, like you got the minigun. I currently found the minigun now, right? The chain gun. I think you call it chain gun in the game. And I have the shield mod, right? I have it activated. I have it mastered, right? The shield mod. Wow. So if you play Doom Eternal on Nightmare difficulty, right? It's really fucking hard. Like, don't even think about playing it on Ultra Nightmare. It's like, wow, so frustrating. I would never dream of playing it on Ultra Nightmare without the fucking cheats. Fucking bitch ass monster. Die. Where was I? See, I got that minigun, right? And wow. And unlimited ammo with the chain gun, like, wow, you like fuck everything up. It's so great. But anyway,
Resource beaming complete.
so I was like playing my Blacklist, and I had like 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand. I was playing it. I played it through. I had everything recorded. But then, like, the voice recording, like, I don't know, was kind of like delayed and messed up. So I decided to delete everything, and now I have to play it again. But what I said, for example, was about this coronavirus issue.
Resource beaming complete.
So now it's like getting out of hand, right? And I just saw someone on television saying, like, oh yeah, we need the government, and yeah, the government has a key role to this and that. So he was like praising the government for let's say taking, he was praising the government for the government, right, seemingly taking responsibility, although we always know that governments never take responsibility. They just hold it, and when the time comes, they just pass it on, right? That's all they do. That's all they fucking do, right? So this guy was like praising the government for their effort and this and that, and then using taxpayer money, right, to do this and that and this and that, right, and pump the taxpayer money into the markets, right? Or let's say give taxpayer money back to a certain group of people, right? And like for a month, right? For a month, they basically, like, where should I start? Where should I end? Right? Okay, let's start with the money. So all around the world, or especially like in Europe and in America, the governments, right? The governments have made more debt, right? They went to a bank, right? They went to a bank and said, please, or better said like this. So they have like a bank, right? They have all this taxpayer money. You know, they hoard it, and they have it in a bank, right? So they go to the bank and say, Mr. Bank, whatever, right? I need $1 trillion because there's a pandemic, and the people have to stay at home, and they don't get paid because their employers won't pay them if they don't go to work. So now we have to get this taxpayer money, which, you know, all the people paid for, and give a little bit back. You know what I mean? Because or else they'll get mad and angry, and they'll blame the government, and then they won't vote for us anymore, right? So that's basically the fact. So the people, so they took like $1 trillion out of the bank, out of their state bank, right? And and then they like they spend it on the people, right? And like this $1 trillion, how much was it? $2 trillion. That like lasts maybe for a month, right? It lasts for a month, You know, and if the virus, and if this pandemic still continues after that, then they will have to get another $2 trillion out of the bank, right? Okay, so that's one thing. So the second thing is, how are they going to get these $1 trillion back, right? How are they going to get that money back? Okay, so that's one thing with the United States. That's actually an easy thing. The more difficult thing is like in Europe. You know what I mean? In Europe, they took like 500 billion, right? Half a trillion. That's not much. That's not much, man. That's like absolutely nothing. That's like absolutely nothing, right? That's absolutely nothing. So people in Europe are like basically like they're fucked. You know what I mean? They're fucked because you have to think of it like this, right? The state sees this taxpayer money, which they hoarded in their state banks. They see that money as their own, right? They see that money as their own, even though it's not theirs. It's taxpayer money, right? It's like our money, which we worked for, which we generated, right? Which we then gave to our employer, right? Which he then gave to the government, and so on, right? You know what I mean? But it's basically money that the working force has generated, right? So, and they think it's theirs. So what they're gonna say is, they're gonna say we want our money back. You know what I mean? And so how do they get their $1 trillion back, right? How do they get the $1 trillion back in the bank? So think about it, right? Like what's the easiest, fastest, and quickest way, or like what's the easiest, fastest, and cleanest way to get back those $1 trillion? You're gonna raise taxes, of course. You're gonna raise taxes. You're gonna flood the market with some stupid product everyone's supposed to buy, right? Ventilators, masks, soap, whatever, right? They have price gouging going on in America, right? Price gouging, right? Or like here in Germany, or you know, in parts of Europe, you have this lockdown, right? And if they catch you outside with the police, right, catches you outside, and you don't have a how do you say, a letter of a letter from your employer which says that you are supposed to go there and there to work. Like for me, example, I'm a cleaner, right? I have to go there. I have like 2 letters, right? One from the blood wash clinic and one from my employer, telling the police officer then that, you know, I have to go to work. I'm outside because I have to go to work, right? Lockdown. So if they catch you, then they're gonna want money from you, right? You're gonna have to pay, like, let's say maybe $20. And if it doesn't work, right, if you don't stay at home and they catch you again, then you're gonna have to pay $50, for example, right, or €50, right? So that's kind of like one method how they slowly get that money in, right? In Europe, right? But what if you don't have any money, right? What if you're like, yeah, what if you don't have any money? You know what I mean? What are they gonna do in Europe, right? Are they gonna raise taxes more? Then we can't afford anything. Yeah, you know what I mean? Then you can't afford your own apartment. You can't afford a car. You can't afford to go to work, right? You can't afford to do this and that. So the people in Europe are fucked. Basically, they can't get this money back in. They take from the bank. So if this virus continues to go on, like I said, then people here will be forced to emigrate, right? It's like I said, you're gonna have to be forced to immigrate, if you know what I mean. So where are the people in Europe gonna immigrate to? Want to immigrate to? Of course, into the United States. In the United States, right? The United States will have to be prepared for hordes of people from Europe wanting to go into the United States and work. And then they generate money and send that money back to Europe. So that's basically that's one option, right? Another option would be like splitting the European Union, right? That would be another option to get that money back, because then we don't have to pay this European fund shit, right? And we would have our own currency, and it would be an easier way to get back that money for each fucking state, right? I mean, those states who are underdeveloped, Okay, you know what I mean? They're gonna have to depend on other states, you know what I mean? So there's a certain bond there, but it's not this European Union anymore, right? Everyone would have their own currency. Or third option, which is the most unlikely one, is you have like, you know, like the Nazis always wanted an Übermensch, you know, and you have like a supreme breed of humans that are like, you know, fucking immune or like fucking healthy, and that can do everything, right? That can do everything, you know. You know what I mean? You have like a supreme breed of humans that are just, you know, that fix things that are messed up, basically, right? But that's the most unlikely option, because, you know, then you would have to have like a whole lot of that's like the most unlikely option, right? I mean, come on, let's be realistic, man. No one, like, really, that's most unlike. Anyway, so those are the options I laid on the table for Europe, and that was like a month ago already, right? That's like, either the people wander out and, you know, immigrate into the United States, which most likely some people would do, and then they send the money back to Europe, right? Or they split the European Union, right? They split it up. You know what I mean? We have they have their own currencies again. Or the third option, yes, they go for how do you say in English? They go for the selected few, right? They go for the selected few. You know what I mean? And get and create like a clean breed, a clean strain of human. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in America, it's like, you know, why I was like thinking, why are the markets like, you know, tumbling? I mean, what are they people afraid of, right? You hear you hear on the news people dying left and right, and my ship is, I think, starting to mold. I gotta check the ship. Oh, I'm sorry. I actually wanted to play Doom, but, you know, talking this stuff and then playing Doom Eternal on Nightmare difficulty? No way. No way. No way. So where was I? Yeah, the United States, like, you know, employers, companies are like, you know, their stocks are tumbling, and they're like panicking. Like, I was thinking, like, why? Like, why, what are they afraid of, right? So, for example, like your boss is like, you know, has the coronavirus, and he's like staying at home. And because your boss is staying at home, he tells you that you have to stay at home too, right? So you can't go to work because your boss won't allow you to. So your boss sends you home to work because your boss is sick, right? Oh, I'm so sick, I can't go to work, and my money is... So boss is thinking about his money, right? So he's really afraid. Your boss is really fucking afraid that he'll lose his money. You know what I mean? And what's happening at the markets? Like, people are losing money. And why are people losing money? Because people aren't going to work. And why aren't people going to work? Because the government won't allow people to go to work. Okay? So I had on television this guy praising the government, that the government is like doing this and that and blah and blah. You know what I mean? And the markets are like falling, or were falling. You know, now we have like this package aid, right? The state is like giving money, you know, taking out money from the bank and giving this money, which could have been, you know, for the military, right? So they did. So now they're doing, like in the United States, for example. So now they're doing like a military cut. You know, you know what I mean? So what kind of cut are they doing in Europe? You see how messed up it is, and the Chinese are like standing there like, laughing and shit. But that's another issue with the Chinese, right? So anyway, United States, where was I? Yeah, employers. So what are they afraid about? Like, why are they losing money? Because the government says that the people should stay at home, right? And then you lose money, okay? But the government also says, oh, I'm gonna give you your money back. So the government like goes to the bank and buys your fucking stocks, and that's gonna save your company, right? Virtually. In reality, the people are still staying at home, and you're still losing money. You're still losing money, right? You're still losing money. So, like, what are you afraid about? So what are employers really afraid about, right? Are they afraid to die, right? And then they can't take their money into the grave, right? Oh, I'm gonna die, and my money is gonna stay out there, and I can't take my money into the afterlife. You know what I mean? You know, like in China, if you want to take your money into the afterlife, you have to burn it all, right? so you got, I have to burn all my money. They have burn like millions and millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars. Yeah, right. Burn it all if you want to take it with you in the afterlife, right? So what are they afraid about? So it's about like people don't go to work. People are sick, right? People are sick. People can't go to work because they're sick, right? People can't function right because they're sick. Your company isn't competitive enough because all your fucking people are sick, right? So it's about competitiveness, right? Isn't it? Of course. Of course. Of course. We're in a capitalist system here. It's all about being competitive. So everyone's looking at each other like, oh, I'm not competitive enough. I can't do this and that and this and that, you know, because my people are at home. And the other company's like, oh, I'm not competitive enough because I can't do this. And everyone has like these restrictions, right? They can't operate the way they want to operate to stay competitive because they are restricted. And who does these restrictions? Is it the virus or is it the government? You know what I mean? Because like if I'm a healthy guy, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying like I'm immune to the virus, but I'm not affected by it, right? I'm not affinitive to it, right? You know what I mean? The virus, I'm not affinitive to that virus, you know what I mean? I can still be competitive, right? For example, right now, you know what I mean? I'm a cleaner. I clean up shit, you know what I mean? Even though there's this lockdown, I still have a job to do. I go to work. I clean up shit. I go to school, nobody's there, school's in lockdown right now. I clean up, I do this ground up cleaning. And if I don't do that, I go to the blood wash clinic, right? People need to go there, right? Or else they die. So I have to make sure the fucking place is clean, right? You know what I mean? I get recommendations, all this stuff. So that's my current job, you know what I mean? And now you see like the Chinese, yes, you see Chinese, let's say, having to do the same, right? Follow me. Before that, I was in retail service. What did the Chinese do? They switched to, to servicing, right? That's what they said, or that's how you say it. While I was in retail service, the Chinese switched their industrial blah blah bullshit blah, movement to service movement, right? To service, offering services. You know what I mean? So again, the Chinese had to, let's say, follow me. So this is like another coincidence, basically, that makes the Chinese follow me again, right? So now it's like, like the Chinese New Year, it's every time it's some different shit, right? And every time I have a different job, kind of like, I don't know how long I'm going to stick with this. But anyway, that was the other story. Going back to the United States, it's about being competitive, right? So it's like, oh, I'm not competitive enough, right? And I mean, if that's so, right, if you're not competitive enough, why aren't you doing anything about that, right? Why aren't you trying to be competitive again? So how do you get competitive again? And this was my appel on in Europe. So, in Europe, you can't just fire somebody, right? Or else the state will, like, punish you for that. But now, since this pandemic is occurring, it's more easy to fire somebody who isn't, like, how do you say it mildly? Who's like an ass, who's a burden. Who does a bad job, right? So now is like the time in Europe, right? Or especially in Germany, where you can fire somebody who does a really terrible job in order to stay competitive after this pandemic shit is over and not get punished by the state for it, right? Because if people are laid off from work here, they get paid like 67% of their loan, or of their check, right? Their payment. So, and that's basically like the unemployment money they would get, the money they would get if they were unemployed. You know what I mean? If they were fired by their boss. You know what I mean? And like, who knows how long this pandemic goes, right? Who knows? Anyway, You know, if stocks are falling and companies are like afraid, not being competitive enough, because that's what it's all about, right? If let's say if you have no rival, right? If you know what I mean, what are you supposed to be afraid of, right? If you're healthy, right, and you're not affected by this shit, right? You're not affected by it. It's not affinitive to you, right? Why should you be afraid, right? What are you afraid about? You know what I mean? So it's basically all about being competitive. Why are the Chinese like laughing right now or smiling? Oh, because they feel competitive. You know what I mean? They feel competitive. They can compete. You know what I mean? So what's it gonna be? What are you gonna do? Right? How are you gonna stay competitive in these times as a company? Or are you gonna say like, or are you gonna give up your company? Right? Are you gonna give up your company? Are you gonna say, here, take all my stocks, give me all your money, I'll burn it and I'll die and I'll take it with me into the afterlife? Is it gonna be that? Or what's it gonna be? What are you gonna do? Right? Well, I already told you what's happening in Europe and what's gonna happen. Right? The people will either, the European Union will split up. It will, break apart, just like the Brexit and shit. Right? Countries will want to break out because they don't want to pay back this amount of money into the European Central Bank. You know what I mean? They don't want to pay that money back. Like the Italians, for example. It's gonna get rough. It's gonna get really, really rough. You know what I mean? After all those deaths the Italians had to, go through. After all those deaths. And then they have to pay like a large sum of money back to the European Central Bank, for example, who didn't help them. So now the Russians are stepping in Italy, right? I offer you my help. Of course everything has a price. Nothing comes for free. Are you stupid? I mean, you gotta be stupid if you think that, right? So, you know what I mean. So I would say, it's better to pay in ruble, your debt back in ruble, than in euros. Yeah, you know what I mean? So the European Union only has these three chances, or these three options, right? You immigrate, and you keep the European Union, and you immigrate into the United States, work, and pay the money, and send the money back. So yeah, or break up the European Union, or you kind of get a certain man and like a whole bunch of certain women, and you produce like these super babies, which is like most unlikely to happen. Because we're talking about being competitive, right? So yeah, I mean, yeah, it would have been nice, but no. What's going on here? So yeah, why are the people afraid? Like I hear people dying left and right. I know. I hear it like in the news, people dying left and right. In Iran, people are dying, right? A whole lot of people, and at the same time, people in Iran are at war, right? They're at war. They're at war with the United States, right? And you know what I mean? They're at war, and they don't seem to give a fuck, right? They just how can you think of war in a time like this? Like you know what I mean? When a crisis is going down, when a health crisis is going down, right? You know what I mean? So they're talking about gas masks, yeah, you know what I mean? And these ponchos and shit, like this ABC alarm, right? I don't know how to classify it, man. Is it like biological? Is it chemical warfare? I don't fucking know. So you have to run around outside with a gas mask and shit, right? And shoot these flares and whatever, man. You know what I mean? Really crazy shit. And I'm thinking, man, really, they really want this? Do they really want this? How stubborn can they be, right? Do they really think they can win? If someone else, if the competitor really puts his mind to it, you know what I mean? And I'm talking about a big competitor, right? A huge competitor compared to yourself. What are you gonna? You know what I mean? You think you think the competitor's gonna fall dead because of a scratch or something like that. You know what I mean? So how stubborn can someone be? You know, I'd give up. I'd say, okay, you won. I'm sorry, right? Spare me the how do you say? Spare me the shame, right? You win. Okay? I'm gonna say nice things now, right? On television. yeah, that's right. I want you to say nice things on television, and I want you to do nice things, right? Yeah. And not say, I don't want you to say bad things on television anymore, right? That, you know what I mean? Like, really, wouldn't that be a time to, like, but no, I don't think so, no. These guys are stubborn. They're really fucking stubborn, right? And they really, and then they want to launch a nuke, right? And then they want to launch the fucking nuke, right? That's like this all-out war they're talking about. They want to launch a nuke. So yeah, this lockdown has another effect, maybe, right? Because the Iranians have intercontinental ballistic missiles. They can hit from, you know, they can hit like any part of the world, mostly, right? A large part of the world. So everyone's on lockdown. That means, like, you know, what you're gonna hit. You know what I mean? There's no large crowd gathering. So I mean, basically, the only option you would have would to hit, like, I don't know, so government structures, right? And that would be like an all-out declaration of war. And I mean, if you really want to put it that way, right, it would be an all-out declaration of war. And so that's most unlikely to happen. Otherwise, you can, like, say it was a terrorist act, right? It was a terrorist act. But, you know, since people are on lockdown now, it can be definitely be considered as a declaration of war, right? So yeah, and blah, super babies, yes, of course. Blah blah blah, whatever. Well, going to the United States, European Union, splitting up. How's it going? Everything good? Okay. Yeah, my ship's cool. Yeah, I actually wanted to play the Doom, and I'm gonna play the Doom now. Just wanted to, you know, I was like just fucking pissed off about this guy saying, like, government is good. You know what I mean? Even though the government is, like, playing bad right now, right? It's playing the bad guy. You can't go out. You got all these restrictions, right? They say it's for your own health. And, like, if I'm a healthy guy, you know what I mean? If I'm not affected by it, I'm a healthy guy. You get what I'm saying, right? I'm not, like, falling flat on the floor and say, oh, I'm sick and blah and blah, and coughing around and running around with filthy hands and shit like that, right? You know what I mean? Like, pff, yeah, and, like, you have this guy saying government is good, even though it's, like, playing really, really bad now. It's like, you know, restricting your freedom and everything, right? And, like, you know, and then you're supposed to go vote, right? Yeah, government is good. Like, fuck that shit, man. If everyone would be healthy, no one would be affected by this pandemic, and we would say, like, and then the government would restrict us, our freedom. You know what I mean? Of going out, of going to McDonald's or to Burger King. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, fuck that shit, man. Dude doesn't know what he's saying. You know what I mean? If I'm sick, I don't go to the government. I have to go to a doctor. Like, if I can diagnose my illness, I don't need a doctor. I can go to the pharmacy. You know what I mean? If I had my own laboratory, and let's say, like, all the diversities, the biosphere of this planet, thank you, can offer me at my disposal, I wouldn't need a pharmacy. You know, and the know-how, yes, of course, and the know-how. I wouldn't need the pharmacy. I can produce my own medicine. You know what I mean? So think about that. Think like that. I'm, like, playing this game, and I have, like, a spaceship here, right?
Welcome to the shipbuilding interface. Here you build and upgrade.
You know what I mean? I have no government on this fucking ship. You know what I mean? I need to take care of my stuff myself.
Or if you have other reasons to destroy
And,
it. Also, I recommend using this interface for orientation on board by accessing the ship map.
I actually wanted to build I can't build that. How about the cantina?
The cantina is a social spot for crew members who are not assigned to a certain job on board.
Nope. Everyone has a job to do. So, like I said, do I need a government here? No. I'm the captain. The captain is in command of the ship. You know what I mean? Everyone has a job, right? Everyone has a job, and the captain doesn't get paid, right? The captain doesn't get paid more or less than any other crew member on this on this fucking ship. You know what I mean? And if the captain dies, then another one has to be a captain, right? Another one has to like set course. Let's say which direction to go, which planet to go to go next. Anyway, right? And everyone has to agree. Everyone has to agree, right? So don't come to me and say like government is good. You know, at a time like this when they're putting on their bad face. You know what I mean? Their mean face. They're showing them, you know what I mean? This is government showing its nasty side. You know what I mean? It's not, you get what I'm saying? This is government showing its nasty side all over the world. All over the world. You had people in China, like I saw, they showed this one girl locked in for 2 months. A student, right? A student locked in for 2 months. I was eating, she said, and this and that. That was the nice, you know, that was the icing on the shit cake. You know what I mean? That was the icing. You know what I mean? There's a different world. You know what I mean? Underneath all that icing, the real world, and how that was and how that is they told the people to stay at home, and there were like old people, you know what I mean, old people, and there were people who were sick, and they just let them fucking die. You know what I mean? They just let them fucking die. Same way in Italy, they couldn't handle all the sick people, right? All these old sick people, they said lockdown, right? People had to stay at home. They were not allowed to go out, and the people who were sick couldn't go out anyway, right? And the people died. They died at home. So they had to send the military to get all the corpses out because they were the government, right? Because everyone was too afraid to go inside those houses and get out the corpses. You know what I mean? That's the real side of this pandemic. They talk it all sweet, right? That's what they did in China. They just said, fuck it, close the door, everyone quarantine. Those who are alive, you know, congratulations. Those who are dead, you know, I don't give a fuck, right? You know what I mean? And there were people like yelling and screaming at home, you know, begging the government for help. The government didn't come and help. The government didn't come and help in China, man. That was like a time when the wind was blowing, man. The wind was blowing so hard, and I could smell those cries. I could hear those cries from the Chinese. You know what I mean? Who wanted out. They wanted out. It's like maybe the cry of the dead Chinese, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, we got rid of the pandemic, they say, right? The curve is flattening in China. So, yeah, how many people died for that? I mean, how many people did you not treat? How many people did you treat compared to how many people you did not want to treat? Okay? You know, I can hear those cries, man. Those cries came over to me. Over to me. The wind was blowing so hard. So hard. And the air was like, really, from China. Those were, you know what I mean? And you saw on television, you saw old people at the window begging the government, right? Please help me. Give me food. Give me this. They didn't do shit. They didn't do shit. Fuck you. They didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? They didn't do nothing. And then they sent the president into one region where whatever, right? You saw this old woman crying and waving, and he's like having his face like, and all, you know, she was begging for food. Begging for food, man. They didn't have any money. Old people, you know what I mean? Like in China, it's a very complicated story, man. You know, if you're old, you know, your retirement are your children, basically, right? And if you don't have any children, for example, right? Or if you can't go to work, then you can't fucking eat. Then you don't get paid, right? It's all these old people, man. cries, man, came over to me. They came over to me. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, the Chinese are angry. I was saying, right? The Chinese are angry. And I saw the shit what they did in Italy. And I said, oh my god. Oh my god. The same thing happened in China. And those were the cries. You know what I mean? Those were the cries. So don't tell me about government is good and shit, okay? I hate that. I hate that, man. Government, fuck that. You know what I mean? Fuck that. It's bullshit. That was government from his meanest side. Again, nasty. From his nastiest side. Government, man. You know what I mean? Don't come to me in times like this and say, like, government is good. It's never good. Politics, never good. Always bad. You know what I mean? Always. Always bad. Always bad. No matter where you go. Always. You know, so they said, like, in the United States, they could have acted much, much sooner, right? I mean, that may be true, right? But they didn't. And, I mean, how would they have acted, right? That's another thing. But they didn't act sooner, so why did they do that? So that the people can scream, oh, please, government, government, and have to hear that shit that about government being good. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. That's basically like screaming, I want icing on my cake, on my shit cake. You know what I mean? I want the icing. Please can I have some icing on this mess? Government. That's what it is. It's icing on a big mess. You know what I mean? So if you don't have any mess, then you don't need the fucking icing unless you're like a fucking kid, a fucking child. Okay? Like really, come on, man. Don't come to me, like, don't put that shit on television, on the news, saying that government being good, and the doctor is like an idiot, and the scientist is an idiot, you know what I mean, and you get my point, right, and the institution is an idiot, and the people at NASA, they're idiots, right, yes, yeah, and the astronaut is an idiot. Everyone's an idiot except for the president, for example, right? Don't government or G.I. Joe, right? Yeah, please. Who works for the government? Yes, thank you. Please, don't come to me. Don't show me that shit. Don't show me that shit. Like guy, and then he writes a book. Yes, another guy wants to write a book. Oh my god! Like really, don't come to me and say like government good. In times like this. This is what government is for, right? Like what? That's what he actually said. He said like this is what the government is for. Pandemic, right? Restricting people of like not having a clue, and basically like how do I put it? Taking your money. Yeah, thank you. Taking your money, right? Putting it in their own pockets, and then like when a crisis breaks out, giving a little bit back, right? And then demanding more money. That's good. That's supposed to be good. Look at the whole, that's the big picture, my friend. That is the big picture. It's really stupid. It's really simple. It's so base. If you look at it, it makes you want to turn your eyes. It makes you want to look away and say like this is not my life. Right? This is not a fulfilled life. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. So I encourage people here in Germany to go out on the streets. You know what I mean? And you know, go out on the streets. And you know what I mean? And if the police come, like, it would encourage people to, it would discourage people to go and vote for politics. You know what I mean? Because they were the guys who basically punished you for going outside and trying to, like, you know what I mean? Those are the guys, you know, they're nasty. Put on your mean face, and then you're supposed to vote. So in the chancellor in Germany said, like, you know, they heard me. They heard me talking, or better said, they knew of the strategy, right? Because in order to get, like, if people wouldn't vote anymore, then the politics would have to lower taxes, and that's exactly what I want. So I encourage people to go outside and then get pissed off at politics and be discouraged to vote for the parties, right? Because they were the ones who basically punished them for going outside during this lockdown season. Let's put it like that, right? So in order to get back voters, the politicians would have to lower taxes. So that's what I wanted. That's what I want, right? So I encourage people to go outside. I don't give a fuck because I want lower taxes for me, you know what I mean? And for my lower income taxes, yes, that's what I want. I want more of my money for me and not for the state. Basically, right? So yeah, and the chancellor was like, okay, we're not doing a lockdown. We're having a no contact phase, right? So I don't know how the fuck that's supposed to work, right? But it's supposed to, like, you know, not piss off people enough so that they would be discouraged to vote for politicians, right? So you know what I mean? So yeah. Well, here in Bavaria they have a lockdown. Okay. You know what I mean? But it's not so fully in effect, right? It's not so fully in effect, but that's my plea. That's my plea. I want to use this. I want to use this to like get people pissed off at politicians so that they don't vote. And we get lower income taxes, right? That's great. That would be great. So what they did in America, like what I heard from like Donald Trump said, like, we're gonna cut taxes. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, why not? Yeah, good. That's good. That's good. Really, cut all the bullshit. Cut all the fuss. Yes, cut the taxes. Great. Okay, great. But that still doesn't, you know, make me say I love the president or something. Like, I don't need, you know what I mean? Like, that's, yeah. So, really, don't tell me like politicians are good or something, right? They're never good. They're never good. And don't tell me, like I said, don't tell me it's good. That's, you give someone money, and when you're in times of need, you get a little bit of that money back, a little bit, and then like the guy comes and demands that money back plus interest. And I'm not talking about low interest, I'm talking about high interest. In times of low interest. Yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, don't tell me that, you know, that's good. It's bullshit. Alright, I need Alright, I'm gonna... It's bullshit. I'm sorry, it's bullshit. So yeah, like I said, super babies. Right? Übermenschen.
Resource acquired.
Supermensch. Something like that, right? Problem solved. Things could be so easy. Yes, I know. It could be so easy. But it's not. It's not. Right?
Resources collected.
Things have to be complicated, right? Life has to be... Life is... What did I say? Life is easy, work is hard, right? But they just want to make things complicated. Yeah, they want to make work easy and life complicated. Basically. Alright, I need something. I need to do something with that gunpowder, man. Hello, ma'am. I think I may need a gun turret.
Processing.
I'm gonna take 3 with me. Alright, what else? A robot? No. Open rack is full.
Processing.
Some shells. Could you hurry it up? I need to check the ship. Yeah, I just had to get this off my chest, man. I heard that guy, television, like saying, "Oh, government." I was like, fuck that shit, man. If he were fucking healthy and shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, all these restrictions, man. For example, you're sick. and you're sick and you need medicine. So you need, but this medicine comes from is produced by a company that is abroad. So you think you could, order the medicine, but you can't because the government restrictions don't allow it. And these government restrictions occurred on some term of some president who had some deal with some pharmaceutical company and whatever, right? And blah 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 and so on and so on. And they call it politics, right? They call it politics. And then you see on television this guy, and in times like these, we need the politics. It's... So in times like this, I need someone... I need someone to tell me what to do and not to do, right? And I have to give him like half of my money for it? Is that what you're telling me? Like, why not go to the police officer, right? Go to the police station and ask what to do. You know what I mean? Hey, police, what do I need to do? He'll tell you the same thing. Stay at home. Avoid panicking. Stay at home. I don't need, like, a president. I'm sorry. I don't need, like, politicians to do that. To decide that for me. And give them all my money. You fucking... And you have the guy on television saying, like, oh, you're politics. Good. It's bullshit, man. It's absolute fucking bullshit. Sorry, but... Keep dreaming. Alright. The Chinese, yeah, I know, man. It's like, that was brutal, man.
Resource acquired.
That was so brutal, man. Like, the way the communists, like, handle that shit, you know what I mean? It's unimaginable in the Western world, man. But yeah, you have, like, the bums in New York. A whole lot of homeless people, California, that they don't tell you that, right? A whole lot of homeless people being sick, being carriers, right? Coughing around, lying dead, and this and that. Having the virus, being full of it. A whole lot of bums in New York, and bums in New York, bums in California, a whole lot of homeless people in California, by the way, right? A whole lot of homeless people. Lots and lots of homeless. Yeah, all the way up to Washington. Yes, thank you. All the way up. Everywhere where they legalized this marijuana, you had people, like, from all the states wandering there, right? And, like, considering being homeless, being bums, just to, like, smoke marijuana. And now you see where that fucking led to, right? Yeah. You see where that fucking led to? Think about it. And then they smoke, and they cough. And potentially spread the virus around, yeah. So, yeah, California's on lockdown. Right, California was on lockdown. And, I was like thinking, okay, so only groceries, pharmacies, and whatever is open, right? So, like, I was like thinking, yeah, okay, so these marijuana shops, they're closed, right? So what do? They open their shops in Walmart, and the problem is solved, right? So Walmart isn't allowed to sell marijuana, or allowed to, like, they're allowed to sell marijuana in Walmart, right? So yeah, problem solved, right? Oh my god, here we go. Alright, that's what I wanted to do. Yeah, it's fucking nuts in America, man. It's fucking nuts. Only in America can you buy marijuana in Walmart. Oh god. Alright, so next we're gonna go to the planet, but I'm gonna do that for myself now. So yeah, man, it's so fucking crazy, man. It's so fucking crazy. Yeah, the bums, yes. The bums, the homeless people and everything. They're deeply affected, so yeah. And you have, like, hospitals and doctors using, like, the same, mask and shit. Like, yeah, I have to, like, ration their equipment, and I have to do that too, right? If I go to the blood wash clinic, I have to wear their clothes, right? I have to wear, like, all this protective shit sometimes, right? I have to wear it too. And I have to ration my equipment too, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you have to live with it. And you have, like, the doctor whining, right? Like, oh yeah, if I'd have done that, before I'd been discharged and shit, you know what I mean? I'm not allowed to do it, but now they're allowed to do it, and they're whining, right? So, I don't know, they're putting themselves at high risk, the doctors, right? They're putting themselves at a high risk, getting a whole lot of money for it, but they don't want to they don't want to do their job because it's too risky, but they want the money. Or how did I put it? So yeah, they're afraid to go to their families. They're afraid to go to their families and like, because they think they're sick, or if they are sick, right? If they have the virus, they're afraid to go back to their families. Okay, so what is that supposed to mean? So you don't want to do your job. Okay, then. So what I don't get is, so this is the point. That's what I wanted to get to, right? So they want more money because the job is so risky, because it's so risky to infect their family members, right? So they want more money for that. So if a doctor is single and has no family, like, you know what I mean, no family relatives living with him, and like, would he demand more money, or would he take the risk to do the job, right? To treat a patient or to test? Would he take the risk? I don't fucking get it, man. So basically, like, the moral of it is, like, people who have families are basically not prepared to do the step than people who have no family and basically nothing to lose, right? So that's basically it. It's like same when you're a soldier, right? You have, like, you're supposed to go abroad. Here we are, motherfucker. You're supposed to, like, go on a mission, outside, and you're like, oh, my family and this and that, and you're crying around, right? Oh, I want my family and I miss my family so much. You know what I mean? And you have, on the other hand, the guy, like, who has no family, and he's like, okay, you know what I mean? Mission. And all he wants to do is accomplish the mission, go home, get his fucking money, right? Get his money, do his job, and that's it. You know what I mean? And the way he spends his money is like, it's none of your fucking business. You know what I mean? He could go to the bank. You know what I mean? Put the money in the bank. He could be interested in politics. Oh, I want to go to politics after I've completed this many missions, and put all this money in the bank, and yeah, he could, like, scheme on going into politics. I don't fucking know. He can, like, be an Illuminati, and you know what I mean, and like say things, and wherever, whenever, you know what I mean. He could say fuck politics. They're bad. Where was I? I had the doctors. So yeah, the doctors are whining, and like everyone's whining, and nobody's talking about like the people who have to clean up. So you're like, oh, doctors, they're our heroes, and they do this and that and this and that. But like no doctor is effective in a filthy environment. So everything has to be clean, right? That's the ground basis for anything to work normal and properly, right? You know what I mean? Everything has to be clean, whether it's your car, or it's your ass, or your teeth, or whatever, man. Your computer, your system, your office, the hospital, right? Everything, the toilet, I don't fucking know, the streets, the paper, this classroom, the classroom. In order for something to work properly, it has to be clean. Everything has to be clean. And I don't see anyone on television, like, honoring people who fucking clean, right? Yeah, because, people who fucking clean, who swing a mop and shit, and who clean up the dirt and stuff, are often considered dirty and filthy themselves, right? Even though they're the people who clean up. But it doesn't, like, look that pretty or nice, because it's, like, very exhausting, right? You have to bend over a whole lot of times. You're breaking your back, basically, right? You're breaking your back, and it doesn't look very pretty and very nice, right? And you see like this, and they always work slow, right? They always work fucking slow. So yeah, they don't make it look like they're cleaning up really, even though they are. But it's like so exhausting. So yeah, you got to be faster, my friend. You got to clean up a whole lot faster. You got to be very, very fast. You know what I mean? Break your back some more. Yeah, that's what I get paid for. I get paid to like break my back. Ache around, you know what I mean, and really, really fast. So people see me like suffering, and they're like, oh, he's suffering. That's doing a good job. He's cleaning up. You know what I mean? All I want to do is see you suffer, as when you're a cleaner, and that's it. So now, like, the doctors are suffering, and they're whining on television, right? And like, excuse me, doctor. There are other people who have to go to work in times like these, and believe me, they suffer even more when not get paid less than the good doctor, okay? And they don't get any recognition. So yeah, I hear like this fucking whining, right? And like the doctors testing, and oh, my mask in my hands, there's a whatever, like, fuck, disinfect and blah and blah. And yeah, and then like you have like somebody has to go in and clean up the room, right? Are you telling me the doctor's supposed to do that? So yeah, America has like a problem with people, breaking their backs because people are so overweight, right? They're so overweight, and they couldn't talk about it openly on television, but that was basically like the message, like, oh, we're not prepared for this because we don't have enough Americans being able to bend over. You like basically break their back. Clean up stuff, right? We don't have, the power. That's basically how one nurse put it, right? We don't have the power. We don't have the power to clean up this, to clean up. You know what I mean? In this old folks home, for example, they don't have the people, man. They're overweight. They can't bend over. You know what I mean? They can't. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's not about bending over or something like that, but it's about cleaning up, and you gotta be fucking fast, because or else you pay like a fortune. Everything has to be balanced. You know what I mean? Everything has to be balanced. I earn my money by going, to my objects every day and cleaning up. You know what I mean? And I don't get paid fortune a day or something, right? But I have to work like so hard to be middle class. You know what I mean? I have to work so hard, almost 10 hours a day, basically, right? To be middle class. And it's like, a little bit less, right? You take a little bit too much time, and whoops, you're not middle class anymore, right? You're not middle class anymore, right? So yeah, you have to work really, 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 really hard. Believe me, man, you have to work, and nobody wants to work that hard. So you basically earn nothing. You basically earn nothing for maybe doing a good job, right? So in order to earn something, you got to work a whole lot more, right? You got to work a whole lot more. You got to work all day, half a day. You got to work every fucking day, right? And believe me, your back's gonna ache. You're gonna say, "Oh, my back, it aches so hard," and you can't get out of bed, and your back won't go straight anymore, right? You bend over so much. Right, and if it's not your, the bending of the back, you have to swing the mop, right? Or else you like run around with a machine. I mean, okay, that's one thing, but then your employer will say, like, why should I pay you? They can like take like anyone, right? They take anyone. So, and besides, if you have a cleaning machine, and then you need a machine for the edges, right, in the corners. You need a machine as well, so. And that takes a lot of time. So if you want to get paid by the hour, it doesn't change the fact that you gotta be fast. You really, really gotta be fucking fast. So I say, like, fuck all those machines. I'm faster than that. I just break my back. You know what I mean? I just fucking bend over. Really, that's it. And people love it, right? Oh, he's suffering, he's aching, and this and that. You know, and they, he's breaking his back for me. Oh yeah, I love that. So yeah, it's stupid. I know it's fucking stupid, right? But nobody wants to do the job, right? Nobody wants to clean. You don't get recognition for it, right? And you hear the doctors whining, and the doctors in America. You ever seen Emergency Room, man? You know what I mean? That show back in the days that brought George Clooney out. You know what I mean? That made him famous. Emergency Room. Yeah. None of those doctors had a family, and they were like working all day. They were working all day, and I mean, they had some romances here and there, but the job, you know, had priority. And it was in New York. Yes. Thank you. That the show played out in New York, right? Emergency Room. And yeah, you had Dr. Green. That was the hardest motherfucker ever yet. You know what I mean? Dr. Green was like committed to his work, day and night, until the point where he was where they said, "Oh man, you're so committed. We're gonna make you like head chief medical staff, right?" Really, man. So yeah, and I think then he met a woman, and then he was like able to like have a daughter or something, right? Or no, he was divorced. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, Dr. Green was divorced. Yeah, he was married, but he was divorced. Committed to his job. He was so committed to his job. Yeah, that's the way it is. So yeah, you didn't see those guys whine. I mean, you heard him complain, and I mean, sometimes they had a nervous breakdown, right? But they didn't go on television and started whining like. They had to work with what they had, you know. They had to work with what they gotten and stuff like that. They had to, you know, they had these emergency patients. That, hence the name of the show, Emergency Room, right? They had all that shit. I don't know, yeah, but you never saw like someone cleaning up the hospital, right? You never saw, you saw this guy doing like these slow motions, right? And you think like, oh yeah, he's a janitor, he's gonna clean up, right? Yeah. Not so special, right? Doing these slow movements, right? I have colleagues, you know, that do the same movements, stand in one spot like an actor, right? And playing mopping the floor, right? Playing mopping the floor. You want to really see someone mop the floor? You know what I mean? Really? Yeah, it doesn't look like that, right? It does. It's so fast. It goes so fast. It wouldn't fit on camera. You know what I mean? You would have to move so fast. It would outact every other actor on the screen, so they can't do it. So they can't show someone really cleaning up the place, because it would outact every other actor on the screen. So that's why you see these, these, I don't know how you put it, groundkeeper janitors, like these cleaners, right? You see them like on one spot, like I'm janitor, mopping on one spot. You know what I mean? And everyone else is busy, right? Every other doctor, every doctor, every medical staff is busy walking, walking real fast. And you see this guy like moving slowly and like with his wagon and shit, like because it's such a fucked up job. It's so boring and doesn't get paid good, right? And that's the expression for it. Like, you're just a low cleaner. Act that way, right? And you see like this hospital shot, right? And you see this guy, when in reality, the guy is faster than every other person in that building. You know what I mean? He's faster than every other person in that building. He has to clean up so fast, right? He outacts every other person in the building. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? And the people expect it. They expect it, right? Because they're so, how do I put it? They're like so not caring, right? They're so not caring, and they expect, like, when they take a shit, that someone immediately comes and wipes their ass off. Basically like that, right? They expect a hot meal. You know what I mean? They expect hot coffee. They expect this and that. And then you see the doctor on television whining. Yeah, 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 we're here in America. Like he's whining like as if he's on a mission abroad. He's whining. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? And it's the same shit everywhere on the planet. Same shit. It's the same shit. And you hear doctors in America whining. Yeah, 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 yeah. What's that? Yeah. And you tell me something about being competitive, my friend. You get what I'm saying? We all have the same problems right now. We all have the same problems. Same problems. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's that one thing. What you can like, I just said that because I find it like, unfair because I'm currently a cleaner. Sollen des. The animals. Yeah, clean up the cage. Yeah, yeah. Dumbass. See, I'm currently a cleaner, and the world is like shifting again. It's shifting again. I mean, it's laying its mark on a different on different skills now again, and like different priorities again, and different that. Hopefully, all in my favor, right? Again, right? So yeah, I want more payment. I want a tax relief. If I don't get more payment, I want a tax relief. All these efforts that have to be done now in the world, right? Not only, you know what I mean? In my profession, for example, yeah, and the doctor's whining. Yeah, 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 yes, I know. Doctors always complain, right? That's why we have to clean, right? And they don't pay us well. I know. They don't pay us well. They don't pay well. They don't pay well. Fuck that, man. They don't pay well. They're greedy. They're greedy, man. They're so fucking greedy, man. Really, that makes me sick. That makes me sick. They're greedier than the government. Yeah. Yes, they are greedier than the government. And I'm thinking like, why are they so fucking greedy, man? And I'm like, maybe it's the government. Yes. Because of the government, right? Yeah. Think it like that. So yeah, government is never good. Really, you can turn it and twist it. Government is never good. And if the world shifts and turns, in some favor, or if the world turns and shifts, let's put it like that, you like what does that have to do with the government, right? So yeah, fuck that. See, I just wanted to say like, doctors whining and like people cleaning getting no recognition at all, even though in times like these you need to clean. So you see people outside in the street with hazmat suits, right, spraying everything off like, and they think it's clean, right? Like it's not that simple, man. You ever washed a window, like a dirty window? You can't just go to a window and then like go and say it's clean. No, you have to wash this dirt off. Wash it all off. And then you have to go over it with clear water again, right? And then you put like this glass cleaning spray on it, and then you like rub it dry. You know what I mean? But basically, like 2 to 3 steps, how to wash a window really, really clean, and then it's like really crystal clean. It's crystal clean, right? Nothing. Yeah, you get my point, right? That is really clean. I can't just go somewhere on a surface and go and say, okay, it's clean. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. For example, if you have fatty acid on the surface, right? And I go like, what is that supposed to do? It goes over the surface where this fatty acid is, but under there's like a thick surface, a thick layer of fatty acid. So what you need to do is you need to rub it. You need to rub it off. That's what you say. You rub it off. They don't do that, right? They just run around, and that's it. Say a virus. What is a virus? Virus is like some piece of RNA, locked inside I think it's a protein shell, right? Some protein shell, and so when it gets into your body, your body, it's like a present, right? It's like a present, right? It's like a gift wrapped present, and your body's like, oh, a present, and it opens it, and then surprise, it's a virus. You know what I mean? And depending on the virus, how it acts, it's like woo, going crazy, right? And going here and there and everywhere. And you're like, wait, where are you going? Where are you going? You know what I mean? So yeah, your body, and then your body, like, either your body does nothing, and it says like, what was that? Or your body's like, oh, I have to inform my brain. You know what I mean? And the brain is like, immune system, go. You know what I mean? And your immune system looks for that fucking virus. So with the corona, it's like, it sits in a cell, probably in the brain, because they take like these swabs, right, and stick it in your nose really, really deep. So I guess it's like probably really sitting somewhere in your brain then, right? And then from it, so basically the virus sits in the cell, right, and it tries to reproduce. So the thing with the corona seems to be like, since they can only find traces of it, the virus basically like produces something different than, so it doesn't produce an exact clone, right? It produces like a different strain somehow, right? So really crazy shit. In order to stay hidden, right? In order to stay hidden. So that's what I meant when I said it could come back, right? It could come back. It could break out. Basically, so yeah, that's how your body like basically handles a virus. It's like it's wrapped. It's a gift wrapped present that you kind of like take in yourself, either through through breathing or through eating something, right? Let's say not eating, but you touch something and then you touch your face, right? Basically, right? And somehow it gets like, it's a gift wrap present, and then your body like basically opens it to what means however, right? And then surprise, it's a virus. It's kind of like spam, right? You get an email, you open it, and suddenly your laptop goes crazy or something, right? I mean, same way here. And now people are like, I don't know, people are going crazy because it's like a new virus or something, right? Especially old people, right? I mean, how many old people get like these phone calls? Like me, for example, right? I'm a single guy. They know I'm single, basically, right? And they go, he's living alone. He's so naive. Probably we can call him, and like these trickery calls where they say like you won something, and then they want your address, and then your phone number, and they want you to say yes and shit, and then they want your bank account numbers and this and that. You know what I mean? They want to charge you. And rip you off. And they like to do that with old people because old people are like, like to fall for stuff like that. So the same ways with the virus, like since old people like to fall for stupid stuff like that, you know what I mean? The virus kind of like acts in the same way, like surprise, boom, and you opened it, and then you thought you won something, and then you get ripped off. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I don't know, like some people aren't affected by it that hard, other people are affected by it, right? And that's what I said. I said, like, stay away from the stupid people. Stay away from those filthy kids. You know what I mean? From all these people who are like, who are basically like that. You gotta stay smart. You know what I mean? You gotta stay smart because this virus makes people dumber. Like I said, it makes the whole world dumber. Okay? It makes the whole world dumber, and it makes people want to cry government. Like I just saw on TV. We need the government. This and that. The guy was rolling his eyes, and I was like, oh, he got that coronavirus, right? And now he's crying government. Because he's gotten stupider. Oh, I can't feel my brain anymore. I need government to think for me, right? So that's what I'm saying. You gotta stay smart. You gotta keep away from those idiots. Okay? If you want to stay, let's say if you want to stay alive, right? If you want to if you want to stay alive, right? If you want to keep that, let's say, that dream, if you want to keep that hope going, right? That this is gonna end someday, right? You got to stay smart, man. You got to keep away from those idiots. You know what I mean? Same like in the ship. If I had some idiots on this ship, I had to isolate them, right? I have to isolate them. I was like, I'm sorry, you can't operate in the ship because you're just too stupid, right? You know what I mean? Oh, please tell me what to do, and I tell you what to do, right? And then, like, you know what I mean? There's no time for that. You know, and we're all in calm contact here, right? We all got calm contact. You know, and we're operating together. Like, I'm not the boss here or something, right? I mean, I'm the captain, of course, but you know, everyone has his job, and my job is to like look after everybody, but not tell everyone what to do, right? That's not my job, basically. So what I'm saying is, like, you gotta stay smart. Stay away from those stupid people. Stay away from those filthy kids. Wash your hands, like I said, like the plans of the president. Those 15 steps. Yeah, of course, right? You gotta stay smart. You gotta stay competitive. Yes, that's the word. Yeah, stay competitive, man. I mean, because if you're not, then we fall into this we fall into communism. Those are my final words now. So yeah, you gotta do that, or else we fall into communism. And you know what that means. You know what that means. Falling into communism. That means no Captain Crunch, for example, right? Not having, like, empty shelves. You know what I mean? Empty shelves. Working on the fields, plowing the fields, right? Having no job, no work. Yeah, staying at home, staying locked down, right? Locked down, staying at home, plowing fucking fields, right? Getting, like, hunger, right? Famine. All this stuff, that's communism, my friend. Think of North Korea. That's like a pure communist country. And what do they complain about? Famine, hunger, no jobs, stuff like that. No food, blah blah, empty shelves. That's communism, my friend. You know what I mean? That's what this virus kind of like, you know, wants you to do. It wants you to become communist. Like I said, you gotta stay smart. You gotta stay smart, man. You gotta stay smart. Be competitive. Be competitive. Right? Or else you really fall socialist, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You fall into communism. Empty shelves. You know what I mean? The same fucking food. Like boring ass food. Boring ass food. Like, who wants that, man? Like, my God, not even I want that. I'd rather stay competitive to get the fucking food I want on my plate. Right? You know what I mean? Like, good food. Yummy food. Food that rewards my brain. Food that makes me stay competitive. You know what I mean? Yeah, you gotta stay smart. Stay away from those stupid people, man. You know what I mean? Stay away from those filthy kids. Wash your hands. Those old people who never learn. You know what I mean? If you're not a medical staff, if you're not a cleaner or whatever, stay away. Keep your distance, right? Keep those 6 feet or whatever, right? 5 feet distance, right? You know what I mean? Gotta keep that distance. You know what I mean? Don't let them cough in your face and shit, right? You know what I mean? You got to do that, right? Stay competitive. Stay competitive. All right. That's it for now. I was just running around my ship, man. I got to go to the hangar. Oh wait, I got to check the ship first. Alright, remind me to check the ship first before I go into the hangar. Okay. Alright, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and my blacklist, it's gonna take a while. I'm playing the Doom right now, Doom Eternal. My final thoughts, like, yeah, my final thoughts on Doom. You're gonna hear it. I'm gonna play it, but first when I play it through, I'm gonna play it again with cheats, and then I'm gonna do this recording. But now, like I said, Doom is out. I still have to play it through. I just got the chain gun now. Resident Evil's coming out in a couple next week. Next week, the new Resident Evil. I'm all over that. Think I'm gonna do like not a live stream, but I'm gonna do a let's play, like kind of like a live let's. I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna record it, and that's probably gonna take like 9 hours or something. So yeah, my real impressions on the game and everything, right? My real whatever. So much to do, so much to play, so much to record, so much to work, so much to clean. Until then.